Hi, this is State Representative Jeffrey Elmore with your weekly session update for July 1st. Extremely busy week here at the General Assembly as we shut down our short session. And we passed an adjournment resolution, and I want to talk about that first. We did not adjourn sine die, and what that means is it's a term that means it's totally shut down. And we have not done that since Governor Cooper has been elected because of the need to possibly come back and deal with things during the interim period. So in our adjournment resolution, it basically took everything and narrowed it down to where there could be very few things addressed from this point through the end of the year. And in it, there are a series of dates where we have to come and conduct skeletal sessions to be able to stay active as a chamber. But in essence, basically all bills, except very, very few open conference committees, very few things can be addressed from this point through the end of the year. The Speaker does have interest in coming back in December, about the middle of December, to address a couple of things, and we're just kind of on a hold pattern until then. So all of the business with the General Assembly has basically been shut down except for a highly limited number of items. And that House resolution, Senate joint resolution for the adjournment passed today. Couple of things with bills that are happening, and then I want to go into details of the budget because that was passed this week. First, we had a bill signed by the governor, HB 1005, SB 766. They were companion bills from both chambers. It's a crackdown on organized crime. I talked about that a little bit last week, that the bill moved through the chamber and was sent to the governor. He signed the bill, and this is a crackdown on organized retail theft. Basically, these groups that go in and target shoplifting and taking items from the store in a very organized way, so it increases the penalties there. The governor did sign that bill, so that has now become law. Another bill of interest that was moving through that I wanted to bring up, and it has been sent to the governor, it's not signed yet, is Senate Bill 101, Require Cooperation with ICE 2.0. This bill deals with our sheriff's departments across the state. Almost all of our sheriffs in the entire state, if they bring in someone, they do an immigration check on them. And what this does, it requires that if they are flagged by ICE, that they detain them until ICE can come and claim the prisoner. Some sheriffs were not doing that, a very limited number. None of the sheriffs in my area had these policies, but in other parts of the state they did. So that makes it state law that they are required to do that. It had support from the Sheriff's Association. That has been sent to the governor. There are all sorts of bills that passed the past couple of days, way too many to go over in this short update, but lots and lots of legislation moved and is sent to the governor. So in the next 10 days, he's going to have a lot of decisions to make on signing or vetoing many of these bills. The biggest bill that we sent him this week was our Budget Act. We finally wrapped up the budget and put it to vote this week. It had bipartisan support in the House. It also had bipartisan support in the Senate. It actually got 84 votes in the House on its second reading. So awesome support for the budget, which this year is a budget adjustment. It's not a brand new budget. We're just looking at the budget from last year because our budget runs in 2-year cycles and making adjustments to what we did in the last session. So I want to go over a little bit of the top level highlights and then the local level highlights. Teachers will receive a 4.2 average. It varies according to where you're at on the scale. There was a little bit of stress put on the front part for new teachers, and then we spread that through the scale as a whole. So it will vary some, but an average of 4.2. And when you add all of this and the bonus programs together with our supplement plans, it is an average 9.1 increase over the biennium. Non-instructional school employees, these are your bus drivers, your custodians, will receive the greater of 4% increase or to get to the minimum of $15 an hour. State agencies employees will receive a 3.5% increase. State retirees will receive an additional one-time retirement supplement. That makes it 4%, and there will 4% for this year. and they will receive that check in October. So over the biennium, they've gotten a 6% bonus on their retirement pension. There's over $876 million to supplement major economic development projects. These are the car plants that are coming to our mega sites in Chatham. There's a couple of others. So a lot of economic development activity there. A big highlight from the education budget was safety, school safety. And what can we do? We did some major investments here. We increased the school safety grants by $32 million to make it over $41 million in this pot for school systems to apply for safety equipment, locks, training to help with students in crisis, to help the staff with safety needs. We also increased $15 million recurring for a total of $33 million recurring in our SRO for elementary and middle schools. Many times there are SROs in the high schools, but you see less in the middle and even less in the elementary. The goal of this, with partnership with our counties, which we put a little caveat in there for low wealth counties, that their match has to be just a little, $1 to $4 if you're a low wealth county. So basically the state's picking up 80% of the salary, with the goal of having an SRO in every school in the state. We increased funding for mental health programs at $14.8 million. There are over $600 million water and sewer projects and water and sewer funds in this budget that towns and municipalities and water systems can apply for. And this, over the biennium, it totals to over $2.5 billion in investment in our water and sewer infrastructure across the state of North Carolina. And transportation will be receiving $4.8 billion in ongoing investments to keep up with our growth and our roads. Now, some highlights that are local for District 94. The Carolina Land O'Lakes Education Center that received funding last year is going to receive another $496,000. Wilkes and Alexander counties were added to freeze damage relief funding through our CERTIF fund that we started last year. This is dealing with the hard freeze that happened last year, so they will be able to apply for relief for their crop loss. That pot was $5 million was added to that pot, so the county farmers, our fruit farmers on the brushies, can apply for that. The Wilkes Central Gym project is receiving an additional $3.9 million due to increased cost of that project because of inflation. The North Wilkesboro, Town North Wilkesboro Water Intake Project will be receiving $15 million. This should enable them to be able to take the water intake upstream, so they will not have to deal with watershed regulations. The Town of Rhonda water system will be receiving $3.5 million. The goal of this money is to help them dig a new well, also help with their water tower, and possible expansion of sewer and water lines to Rhonda Kleeman Elementary. We also increased the funding to all of the North Carolina visitor centers. That was a concern of the Chamber of Commerce because they contract to man the visitor center, the Wilkesboro's visitor center there on 421. They'll be receiving an additional $18,000 to help with inflation cost on top of what they already receive. To complete the Rendezvous Mountain State Park project, the project received another $1.5 million due to inflation cost. Alexander County will be receiving $750,000 for courthouse planning to deal with the decisions that they're making on what they want to do with a new courthouse, and they're in the planning stages of that, so that should help with that. So those are the local appropriations with the state budget. Lots of information in the state budget. And check out my newsletter through my website, jeffreyelmore.com, if you want some more specific information about the budget itself. A couple of other things. One thing tied to the budget that I want to make clear. We had several questions about some language that was in it dealing with vaccines and quarantine period. There was language in there to try to help the governor take us out of a state of emergency. And we put some language in there that was to help him with that decision, basically, to where he no longer keeps us in a state of emergency. And some people have read this quite wrong, and they feel like that this has created a vaccine or quarantine mandate. And this provision prohibits the state health director from forcing any citizen of North Carolina to submit to a vaccine, test, or treatment. This is a new and important protection. So, with however some people are reading that, the way that the language is to be read is what I just stated. So, there is no vaccine or quarantine mandate that is in the budget. I think that could be some hyperbole that's being put out on the internet by some groups. So, I just wanted to clarify that for you. And also, there was another interesting decision that I read on the news that I wanted to go over with you. The Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, has decided to take on North Carolina's case, our case, dealing with the authority of the state Supreme Court having the ability to strike down our redistricting maps and then redraw them. We feel like that is unconstitutional with our state constitution, and the Supreme Court has been very hesitant to get involved in issues that deal with a state's constitution internally. They have decided to take up this case. This could end up being a revolutionary case for election law to help us with election integrity, making sure that constitutional rights that are in state constitutions for legislators are clear, and basically some decisions making on what role does the court truly play. Have they turned into activists and trying to legislate versus just ruling on law? All of those issues will play into this. So this is a big thing. This will play out over months at this point, but I thought it was a very interesting news article that most people might not catch, that they are willing to take up this case. So this could be changing not only for North Carolina, but also nationwide.